I'm getting ready to get out of here for the night. I was wondering why the Gomez felt so, why his base felt so strong to me today. I think it's the extra weight that Gomez wheel has.
Oh, fuck.
So that's something else you got to think about. It low-key feels like a chest workout because the best way I could explain it, if I have a 5-pound weight and someone's pushing the weight constantly trying to get me to drop it versus having 10 or a 15-pound weight. So again, that just doubles down on the fact that you don't buy that wheel with the buy once, cry once mentality. You buy that wheel after everything else is ready to go. Chassis, computer, brakes, and a strong enough wheelbase that can run that with no issues. Alright guys, so we got the Moza FSR here. I already teased last time I was over that we had the Formula Pro Elite V2 to review. So the FSR, it is a really good entry level wheel as far as this type of technology goes. You got a decent amount of inputs. You have your screen, you got your RGBs on here, then you got the excellent quick release, and you have your data port back here. But this is really only the start of how deep this hobby can get. Directly you'll be able to see Formula Pro Elite V2, how much bigger it is, how much more sturdy it is. Yeah, so what you're looking at here, your FSR is 300. Your FSR is 280 millimeters. Your Gomez GSI FPE V2 is 300 millimeters. Differences between the V1 and the V2, obviously the biggest thing is the V1 was basically a monster truck. It was, they said it was 310 millimeters, really it was 320, which really made it a GT wheel. I do think it separated the Hyper P1 and the Elite V1 a little bit better, but with 300 millimeters, you got more diverse, a wheel that's more diverse, and we're really big on what you're buying it for and using it for what it's best at. So they took away some size, shook it down to 300, and then they gave us thumb encoders. I actually didn't know that the V1 had thumb encoders. Was there anything about the V2 that was like, I have to have this over the V1, or
yeah. So I'm really picky about my wheels. I think if you're spending something this much, you should get addressable RGBs.
Yeah.
On top of that, I think that these paddles, and I opted for the carbon fiber paddles. They might be the same. I don't know, but I feel like these paddles feel a little bit better to me. But yeah, no, it's. I just remember driving the V1 at Micro Center, and I was like, I need to pick me up one of these. And then I ended up going with the affordable route, which was with the Moza, the FSR. And then after I kind of went through the Moza, I was like, you know what? I want something that's a little bit bigger and something that I can use for GT. And it's funny because while I was waiting for my this to be made, for the V2 to be made, I picked up a Neo, the GT Neo, and while the GT Neo is like awesome, this is obviously better. Like it should be. It's $1,300. So
yeah, I think one of the things that stands out to me as far as the jump in quality. So a lot of these wheels, they have carbon fiber reinforced plastic or you know, some type of material. This is all metal. So this is aluminum back here.
Yep.
If you get up close on the wheel, you can see how many layers of carbon fiber you got.
Yep.
And one of the things that, and I was telling my buddy about this, is I actually nicked myself across the edges on here. One of those days where Josh's settings tried to kill me, right? So with this, it's smooth edges. You can tell they take the full 6 to 8 weeks to build this for sure.
Yeah, and it's hand built, guys. So like when they say, you know, hey, it's gonna take this long to make, it's because they're piecing it together piece by piece. And it was actually cool because I saw a video from Gomez Sim Industries, and my wheel was on the rack, like they showed.
Have you seen their quality control, like testing?
No. Oh, are you talking about when they throw it on the ground and stuff like that?
They be slamming this thing from the top of buildings. Be playing tug of war with
and it's
the dogs.
perfectly just fine. And the wheel turns out just fine when they do stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, let's go in here. Let's get some driving in. We'll do a little bit of comparing as far as inputs and screens that you can have with a non-sim hub wheel versus what really you can get with something like this. Sim hub is basically a software you can use that basically it enables any type of customization, any type of telemetry on the wheel, and it's a pretty big feature. But you know, you question like, how much data do I need? So I will start out with the lights. So like, you know, you can customize. You can go here, map the LEDs. We got Miami. We got Phantom, which is what Josh is running. We have Prime, which is originally what the last FPE Formula Pro V1 was the first time I saw it, which is kind of like this rainbow color. Josh got me calling it Rainbow Puke. Then you got Suzuki, which is, I mean, purple and blue is like fire. Like that's a couple of my favorite colors. So we'll go ahead and go, and then you got Ascent right here, but he's running Phantom. But if you go in here, it's touchscreen, which I didn't even realize until like I got here. But there's a bunch of telemetry options here. So you can have your live mapping right here, where you can see where you're at, how much time is left in the race, what position. Then you have all of your stuff for like an LMDH car, for example. You got your hybrid, lights, lap times, traction control 1, 2, ABS, brake bias, engine mapping. And there are some decent in-house readouts from companies like Moza with the FSR, even the SF1000. Like I had screens that were similar to this, but the fact that if I want to make this one light do this particular thing, it's that much easier. If you got yellow lights here, you can do it here. So I can definitely say the extent you can go with the information is worth the jump, in my opinion. So let's talk about it. There are a lot of wheels that are in this higher upper competitive market. Right. The three that I like the most, not including this, is probably the Asher Ultimate, and that's like a brand new wheel. The Solpec, and then Cube Control, they actually have the CSX3 and they have the GTX2. Yeah. I do give the CSX3 the edge over the GTX2, but if this wasn't an option, which of those would you have gotten?
So I think the McLaren Asher wheel with the screen is the Ultimate. I think it's $100 more than this. It just looks... 100, 200. I can't remember when I was looking at it the other day, actually, just because I saw that it was on the market. So in comparison, I'd probably go with the McLaren Ultimate wheel. Mm-hmm. Now, couple reasons. One, it's a McLaren branded wheel. Like that's cool. Yeah. Two, the RGB and the color that it has. Again, I'm picky about RGB. It looks really good in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But the third reason being God, now I'm drawing a blank. What did I say? What was I thinking for the third reason? Holy hell.
One thing about this, I'll help you out. The thing about this, that it's easier to get this versus the Asher?
Oh, now I remember. Wireless compatibility with the SimiCube.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So if it has wireless compatibility, now I don't remember seeing the antenna in the back of it, in the back of the Ultimate, but a lot of the Asher wheels I know work with SimiCube natively to where you could just pop them on to the wheelbase and all of a sudden start using it without a cord. So that would be one of the bigger reasons why I would go with the McLaren out of all of them. Just because of that wireless compatibility, you don't need a wire. But I mean, this wire, the cabling, like if you have it, like it's thick. Like, it's never gonna come off.
It's a thick boy.
And if you have it mounted right to your cockpit, like I do, it's not gonna hit your body or your person or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was that's a really big thing for me is Asher and SimiCube
integrated. Being able to that wireless thing. Like I love my Moses stuff just because of that QR. Boom, drop it on.
Right.
You ain't got to think about it.
I completely agree.
Another wheel that like I was kind of looking at, and I'll have to add in an image of it. George is showing the GTX 1. That's ugly.
It's so bad.
The GTX 2 looks good,
so bad.
but it's called the eSport. It looks like the SF1000.
Oh yeah.
That's actually 307 millimeters.
Okay.
And
that's an F1 rim. That's pretty big for an F1 rim.
Yeah, basically.
Huh.
So that was my honorable mention.
That's really big for an F1 rim, actually.
Yeah. So and
I mean, we've drawn on me. I have a thing with buying new wheels with screens, you know. So these are the two wheels with screens that I've had, but I've had a plethora of other GT wheels. The Neo is at the top of my list for something without a screen. The Pro from Cube Controls. I drove on that at Long Beach, and I actually really liked it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really enjoyed that wheel when I was driving on it. So
you forgetting one, bro. M4 GT3.
No.
Fanatec.
Nope.
Man, you got a BMW poster.
Nope. Nope.
You got a BMW
How are you gonna
poster.
charge? How are you gonna?
You got a BMW poster. You got BMW.
How are you gonna charge?
BMW shoes.
How are you gonna charge the same price as this, and not have it compatible with other brands?
Because you can steal it from the M4 GT3 at Long Beach. You could have stole that, came home, and hooked her up.
You cannot use it on any other wheelbase. So no. No.
All right. So those are your three.
Those are my three. Yeah. And this price point, I mean, there's a lot of wheels out there. David had just spec'd out a Hyper P1, and I had spec'd out a Hyper P1 before I got this.
Did you do your? And did you color it up and stuff?
I did all this the stuff to it, but it came out to like almost $2,100.
So since it came,
and I was like, I'm not.
So since it came up,
I'm not about that life.
We'll do my spec Apex Hyper P1, and I'm gonna need you to send me a screenshot of how you customized it.
I can do that.
So mine right here, first place, and then whatever Josh came up with after that.
But I just wasn't gonna pay $2,100 for it, and that was the big thing, is that it was $2,100. Like, it's okay. I don't got the money. Y'all got the money. That's fine. But I do not have $2,100 to spend on a wheel.
It's hard to just. It has to make sense.
Right. At the end, it does have to make sense.
I think the jump between P1 and this this is gonna be plenty.
And that was the thing, right? Is that I was mad that I didn't have the clutch paddles, but I don't use clutches for a lot of the cars that I drive. Maybe I'll add them because you can add them later.
You can always add it. That's one of the modular things about this. Since it came up. One of the differences, I didn't know they made the P1 bigger to 300. I thought it was 290.
No, it's a 300. So both of their wheels are 300 now.
So they must have bumped up the P1.
Yeah.
With this, you're getting 4 paddles. That one you can do 6.
Yeah.
You're getting 2 more encoders, and even more inputs, which is crazy.
The Hyper P1 I think has 70 something inputs, and this has 57. So. In my head, I don't even know what to map all these buttons to. Like, look at all the buttons that it has on there. Like, come on. And each one of these rotary dials is a button too. So, I don't even know what to map all these buttons to myself, let alone 79 inputs. I'm sure you guys can, but me, I don't know what to map it to. So, but along with that, I think the color brightness might be updated as well, because
we're gonna show the rev lights.
The first time I plugged it in, I moved the slider all the way to 100 on the lights on the LEDs, and it was like
yeah,
it was like blind.
All right, little bit of a more laid back section of the video. At what point does something like this? Do you need something like this, right? Don't go and buy a Formula Pro Elite if you got pedal flex, if you got a 1080 Ti, if you got Simpson pedals. So as nice as this thing is,
Oh my god.
I legit think the R9 would catch on fire and it would spontaneously combust and I would have shrapnel.
Does your R9 get hot?
Hot.
Oh, damn.
So what we're saying is, if you want something with a lot of data that can help you for the races, something like this is fine. But if you go, and it's a killer wheel, but if you go and get this and you don't have everything else ready to go, you're going to have a lot of trouble and you're going to be upset.
At the end of the day, what David is saying is that this wheel's super heavy.
Yeah.
So coming from that to that, I had to up my force.
See the size.
I had to up my force feedback significantly just to get this to feel very good, because this with high force feedback, because it's so small, you're tearing up your arms on the force feedback that you would drive on.
Yeah.
So
and
the motor is going to be stressed out because of how heavy this thing is.
We're real big. That's one of the things we probably learned the most in the past, like I'm gonna say like 18 months.
Yeah.
Is diameter and torque and a stable chassis.
What did I have for a GT wheel before that one?
You were at one point you were using the Fanatec Podium bundle. That's what you were using.
So I didn't have a real GT wheel before this.
This isn't even a GT wheel.
True.
Talking about diameter and millimeter, I'm thinking about the Leox, which is 5 millimeters smaller, but this is so diverse in what you can do with it.
Yep.
You can do P1.
Yep.
You can do GT1 from the 90s. You can do GTP, LMP1. So that's one of the things that I really like about this, and I'm making sure to not repeat myself. You got 57
inputs.
57 inputs. It's 300 millimeters.
So David had asked me at what point do you need this, and the answer for me is never. You don't.
But
it's an awesome wheel. It's fantastic. But you buy it, your reasoning makes sense. But when you buy something like this, in my opinion, it's because you're so deep into the hobby and you're having fun with the hobby so much to where it's like, okay, I'm investing in my hobby. It's kind of like car guys, right? When you put new turbos on your car, when you put new parts on your car, side skirt extensions, carbon fiber this, mirror caps, all this stuff. It's because you're into that hobby, you want your car to look good.
Yeah.
This is the same aspect. When you're that deep into the hobby to where you're having fun with it, and you have the monetary means to go ahead and spend money on something like this, that's when you should buy it. But when you have wheels out, like if you need a GT wheel, when you have wheels out like the GT Neo, there is absolutely no reason to buy something like this.
Yeah.
There just isn't. The bang for the buck that you get with something like the Neo, it would be dumb to do this. But if you're like me, and luckily enough, I have fun with this hobby. I wanted a wheel with a screen, and I wanted it to be kind of like my end game type wheel.
Yeah,
works.
I just don't want to give off information that's like, that Apex guy convinced my kid
that I need to spend $1,400
to work at the car wash all summer and spend $1,800 on a. You can't run this with the CSLDD. You can't run this with the R9.
I'm sure people do.
You can't reliably run this. You're spending this type of money. You want to be able to drive it for hours.
Agreed.
On end.
Agreed.
And yeah.
So I agree with David when it comes to that. Is that you don't need that. Now, like I said earlier, who is this marketed towards? It's marketed towards the guys who are really deep inside your hobby, man, and you want to have a really nice wheel with screens. You need the telemetry, you need stuff like that. It's marketed towards those guys who are big onto the hobby.
I would argue even further to say it's for people that are training.
Yeah, I can go with that. Yeah,
it's for pros because getting your team to bring you the car at Paul Ricard. This enables you to not have to do that. Period.
Yeah.
Like if you hurt your foot and you like want to ease back into it, you get this. You got all your stuff mapped. A whole lot of the wheel might be a little different, but I would say this goes even further than a hobby. This is like legit pro level stuff. I'm sure you might have footage of it, but at Long Beach you could see the GTP wheels.
Yeah.
They do not look that far off. So
no, and that's the thing that Gomez does perfectly, man, is that like honestly I wouldn't have any doubt that you could put this inside a real car and run it. You know? Yeah. All you have to do is make it work. So.
Alright, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. You know, for me, it's a 10 out of 10. I'm not gonna say it's a must buy, but if you are able to, you're gonna enjoy it. Don't forget to follow my boy Josh right here. I will tag his channel down below. Stay tuned for more content. But this itself is pretty killer, man. I do think
no compromise, man.
Yeah, I do think
no compromise.
It justifies that jump over, like I said. The closest thing that doesn't have Sim Hub is the FX Pro.
Right. That's
still smaller. You still got to think about the wheels being cut on the carbon fiber in different places. And no, it's a serious.
It's a serious piece of equipment.
Like this is China stuff. Like
if you're looking for the next step,
if you can justify doing it, I say do it, man.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. That being said, we got more content on the way. I do still got the Simpson pedals. I'm giving those some time just to really fully do a thorough interview because I mean it's interesting. Josh will be coming over to do some more driving with that too.
Yep, absolutely.
So leave a comment. Comment your favorite racing wheel, your dream setup, and then don't forget to subscribe to him and Apex Vision out.